Welcome to the Mind and Body Shop. This is Alfredo Zapata, or Alfredo Zapata Coach in the social media areas in Instagram. And thank you again for being here. And today's show is going to be exercise or going with the motions. It's something that I'm really passionate about, exercise. And, through my career, I've been doing exercise in some uh, way in different sports, different settings, and different people, different everything. But it's been part of my life, and I think sometimes people think about exercise as something that has to do with some type of a sport. Currently, there is a lot of disciplines, a lot of things, a lot of sports that people play, but sometimes we just go with the motions, which is the title of this part of the title of this episode, exercise or going with emotions. And part of what I want to touch first is how do we view exercise in our lives? Do we see it as something that we have to do or something that is part of our lifestyle? Because it's pretty different. You see someone exercising for a reason. Obviously, some people they say, "Well, I'm exercising because it's my hobby. I'm exercising because I get the stress out of my body. I do exercise because the doctor told me because I'm overweight because I have some medical problems that I need to take care of." So that's something that it has to be very much address, because sometimes when we do exercise in some shape or form, we have to think about why do we do it. And it's just not the basic answer saying, well, you do exercise because of what I mentioned, because it's passion, it's your hobby, you want to get rid of the stress, because the doctor told you, because you're in a team, and the exercise that you do in the sport that you're playing requires some type of exercise besides playing the game, because it's pretty different. And some people think that exercising is playing tennis, exercising is swimming, exercising is going for a walk or for a run, or now the very different trends of sports, like extreme sports, like CrossFit, like mud racing, like cross country running, and different things. But think about the motion of the exercise versus what is really the key for those exercise to have benefit on your health. Because one thing is just playing sports because of you like it, because everybody goes and they say, come on, let's go together as a team, as a friend, as a family, or whatever. But are you doing it just to go with the motions like everybody does it? Or you know the specifics of what is that exercise going to do for me in terms of health? Because one thing is just to get amused and get rid of the supposed to stress, but are you thinking in what parts of your body need to be connected in order to get the benefit from the exercise? Because if you just go for a walk or for a run and then you sign up for these races that now they do, like a superhero race, like a challenge to lose weight or to get in shape or something, what type of exercise are those exercise correctly for you? Are you doing the exercise using the correct form, or are you doing the movement and the contraction? That's what we're going to talk about. Some of those details that sometimes they don't mean much for people, because people don't want to think about what is in the back. They want to see the end result or what is supposed to be exercise benefit. And going with emotions, I I call it because sometimes we do a checklist. Have you done your exercise? Yes, I did. I run 2 miles and in so many minutes, and I jump or I swim for half an hour, or I went hiking or something. But it's just a checklist. You know why? Because you can check in majority of the case if those items that you need to wear to practice that sport were the correct. Sometimes I understand that some items to play certain sports they require higher budget. Like if you're going skiing, if you're going snowboarding or something. Well, you need to have the good board to do it, the gear, because weather conditions. If you go hiking, well, you have to have proper shoes as well. But you need to check if your health is matching the sport that you're playing, or if you're doing the exercise to improve your health and really get the benefit out of those exercise, not because they told you and because you're sick with some type of situation like weight control or hypertension or recovery from an injury. Because going with emotions is just doing what it's supposed to, but what is supposed to for everybody is different. But in terms of the real benefit of the exercise, you have to make sure that those exercise are in the right way apply. And in terms of without going into too much science and specific details, there must be a neural stimulation. So it has to be from the brain. That's why here this is the mind and body shop, because we're calling to the brain, to your brain, to think what is going to do that body that you have to get healthy, to get better in what you do. So that stimulation has to come from an order that you tell your brain, okay, we're going to do sit ups, we're going to play soccer. What muscles, not just the technique, do I need to know in order to play that sport and not to get injured, but especially to get the benefit? And the other one is there must be a calcium in the muscle, which is part of the connector to stimulate brain and that neural connection with the muscle. Why? Because in order to improve your health, you need that connection to be like second nature. That's why you need to be practicing, but you need to be trained from the professional for you to connect with your body, your mind first, and to tell your muscles, okay, we're gonna do the kicking the ball, or we're gonna do the jump in order to perform the exercise. It could be a sit up, it could be a squat, it could be just a simple push up. And I'm going to mention that in a few seconds. And also, we need the ATP, which is a molecule that store in the muscle cells the energy in order to produce the contraction, which is one of the main factors that you need to be aware. The once the mind send the stimulation to the muscle to perform a certain activity, call it sport, call it exercise at the gym, call it free weights, machines, weight assisted, any type of movement that requires muscle contraction, you need that. And that's the principal molecule that you need to be nourishing, obviously with the proper nutrition, but that's what it takes to really do the exercise and call the muscle that you're going to be recruiting, could be several muscles, in order to perform certain activity, certain exercise. And there is just uh, many terms and reactions that are going on the body when you perform some type of sport or exercise to improve your health, which I'm going to mention two. And those two are the isotonic concentric contraction that involves muscle shortening when you contract the muscle, when you do a bicep curl, and the isotonic eccentric contraction. This involves the muscle lengthening when you extend it, when you stretch it under tension. So it's both of those that need to be done in the proper way. Normally, when you do exercise in a gym and you perform in an exercise like a chest press, shoulder press, uh, squats, sit-ups, triceps, dips, you want to have just a basic seconds between the contraction and the extension of the muscle, which is you pushing 3 seconds and you release it 4 seconds. That will be one of the basic techniques in order to control the muscle contraction, because you already send it, you're supposed to already send it from the brain. What muscle are you going to use to perform the type of exercise? If you're playing sports, it will be exercise prior. That will be the conditioning of that individual in order to perform the sport. In this case, football, soccer, for example, you have to condition the legs to be able to respond in a quick side to side movements, stop and go uh, running to catch the ball, and being able to use your hips and your torso in order to snap with a kick the ball, depending on what is the angle that you're going to be kicking the ball. Or if you're playing tennis, for example, that's multi joint and muscle movement. Then you need to be able to have enough conditioning to move it. But everything, remember, it comes from the neurological stimulation, because people say, well, you just need to practice so you can get good at getting the racket and have your stance ready. So when the ball comes, you're going to hit it, and you're going to be hitting many times in order to get better. But that's just the technique. But you need to know what muscles you must condition to do it right, because you can learn for watching videos on YouTube in how to play tennis, how to play soccer, how to swim. But if you don't know what muscles you must strengthen and become flexible, agile in order to perform, you're just going to be going with emotions. And that is not going to give you good results. In some cases, it's going to give you sore tendons, ligaments, muscles, and sometimes even an injury. Why? Because you just went with emotions. You just play that particular game or perform that type of exercise that it wasn't done with your mind connection. It was totally just out of the blue. And, in some cases, people saying, well, it's because of the music that I put in my ears. It helps me concentrate. And I can go on and motivate me. And I put the Rocky movie, and I mean the theme, the soundtrack, and I get excited, and I can push more, and I can pull more, and I can do that. Yeah, that's great, that motivation. But you have to think first beyond that, what it need to be happening, which is that neurological stimulation, the order that you send to that muscle. Try, regardless of if you're playing sports or if you're doing exercise. Why? Because what I just mentioned, you need to be aware of your body health and how you move it, because becoming healthy is a lifestyle, and it's not just playing sports. It's like how you sit on the couch to watch movie. How do you sit on the table when you go to eat? How do you sit on the desk? I mean, on the chair when you're working on your desk. How you walk. If you have a flat feet, if you have a scoliosis, if you have some back problems, how you do your daily routine in a dynamic way. Because what you don't want is to incur in any possible excessive stress on your joints, on your ligaments, on your muscles, because that's going to be reflected in when you're going and you're saying, I'm going to play some Zumba or CrossFit or something because I got so much work and I need to release myself. And I've been having some type of aches on my body. So I guess, listen that. Some people say, I guess doing exercise and sweating like a horse, I'm gonna feel better. And then a nice shower, and then I go home to rest. And that's just going with emotions because people just listen what other people say or some recommendations that are random about that particular situation, or when you do an exercise in this uh, in this 2020 especially, people thinking about releasing stress, about being calm. And some people say, well, I'm pretty stressed and stuff, so I'm going to beat myself to death working in the gym or running until I can, so I can get wasted and just eat something and go to bed and forget about what happened. And that'll be also going with emotions because we're not thinking wisely about taking care of our health. So exercise or going with emotions is something that could be applied to many different areas. Even when you have some type of issue. In this case, I have just a current client that I'm training over Zoom. She's a cancer recovered woman. She's in her mid 40s, I believe, and she's been doing great. I mean, she recovered last year, and we're good friends from years back. And she was saying, Alfredo, I want to train with you because I want to get back into shape, but I'm still under my treatment. And once I recover, I'm going to do it. She's doing great. We're about 2 months that we're doing 3 times a week exercise on Zoom. And she's doing great because she feels the empowerment. She feels how her body is responding because I'm guiding her. I am giving her the cues in how to stand, how to step, how to contract the muscles, how to release it. And I time it so she is focusing on doing it correctly from her brain order to the muscle. And obviously I'm watching her recovery and everything, so she's learning to learn her body reaction during this exercise. And people say, well, yeah, but I'm a bodybuilder, or I'm a professional athlete, or I'm someone that used to do all this stuff. Yeah, but the principles are this. And even professional people, which I work with some of them over the years, professional boxers and other people with high performance sports, and some of them they need to be tuned. They need to be reminded of the muscle connection with the brain, because sometimes some of the professional athletes, I'm not saying all of them, but some of them, they just go with emotion. They have the talent, they have the condition, but in some cases there's room for improvement they're not thinking about, because the emotion, not the emotion, but the emotion takes them away. Because when they're in a deadline, when they're in a competition, when they're in a place where the emotion gets out of handle, they will go in totally uh, bizarre attitude, And sometimes they forgot about that connection. So they end up getting either injured, or maybe they win, or they get victorious on what they do, but they will be missing something. They sometimes um, happens that there is some type of injury, just minor injury. Sometimes it could be a little more, or sometimes they will recover from something and then they start doing that particular sport or competition, and they end up getting even more. And the other case is like when people have some injuries and they need recovery. Like, for example, arthroscopic knee surgery. I have a few clients that I train, and it was the same thing. It was giving them the cue first in their posture first, and getting that connection with that muscle, the lost muscle mass, the lost the connection because it was the operation, even though it was arthroscopic or laser or whatever. But that muscle lost that connection for a moment, for a few days, few weeks, few months, and now it need to be retrained. And exercising or going with the motions is going to be crucial for that person to recover. Because some people, they can go for a therapy for 12 sessions, 20 sessions, and the doctor say, okay, well, you're well, you came, we did a therapy exercise, and you're ready to go. Have a good day. Thank you for coming. And then the person goes, and they go to the house, and they don't know how to climb up the stairs. They don't know how to sit because they feel discomfort. They feel like there's no connection. Why? Because that neurological connection and that muscle is being weak, is being recovered from that injury, from that surgery, from that type of procedure. And they need to be, again, going back to the basic so they can have that connection with their muscles and have the recovery. So you got to be thinking about it. And the next time you do exercise, and if you're really exercising in the right way, or if you're going with the motions, and position in doing exercise is another topic that we're probably going to have another show to talk about how to position yourself when you exercise. Even if playing sports, I've seen it with people, with professional boxers, with runners, with different type of people. How do they position themselves to do the exercise? Some of them, they already have the conditioning, so anything that they do is gonna make them look good because they look good. Especially people they do bodybuilding or they want to look good, and if they're already in a good shape, they flex a muscle, they do a bicep curl, or they do a pull up or sit up, and then you see the six pack, you see the muscles in the back, just the shape and everything, even though they're doing it incorrectly. So positioning can be just misleading and saying, well, I'm doing pretty good and I'm lifting a lot of weight and I can last several minutes doing exercise, but is the positioning causing you problems on your injury? I mean, on your joints, on your ligaments? Majority of the times are minor irritation or inflammation that sometimes can be accumulated if you're doing it incorrectly. Because I train some bodybuilders as well, and some of them they start having problems with some inflammation in some joints, improving some type of routine and stuff to performance, to grow muscle or to work a little more stronger, and they were just going with the motions. And some of the best and the basic muscles that you can think and to pay attention to what I said today is the squats, how you do the squats, how you position yourself. Is your hips wide enough for you to, the stance for you to do it correctly with your back straight and your feet flat on the ground or not? The push-ups, how you position yourself. Are you contracting those pectoral muscles? Are you flexing your core so you can have a stability when you do the push-up? The sit-ups, are you flexing the abdominals? Are you opening your mouth so the chamber of your rib cage allows the air to come out and to have a full contraction on the abdominals? Most of the time, no, because you just go with the motion. So remember that. And in the next episode, we talk about some of those particular points, so you can take a look. And if you have some questions, you can find me in Instagram at Alfredo Zapata Coach. That'll be the easiest, Alfredo Zapata Coach in Instagram. And you can ask me a question, or if you want to get a private coaching online, send me a DM, and I'll be happy to connect with you. And remember that exercise with your brain and your muscles, not just going with emotions. So stay tuned for the next episode. Share it if you think you got some value from it. And don't forget to connect mind and body. And we'll see you next time.